Welcome to the volunteer training for Design 39 campus for all the parents, the grandparents, and the caregivers. This is Step 2 training. The Step 1 training was the growth mindset video that you saw earlier on the D39C website, and now this is the Step 2 training. So in case you missed one of our 4 face-to-face Step 2 trainings, you can watch this video and then you'll be up to date. My name is Jen Zing. I'm the TOSA at Design 39 campus, or the teacher on special assignment. I'm also the volunteer coordinator, so I get to work with great folks like you. And then you'll also meet at some point Erin Stefanik, and Erin is our Making an Impact teacher, and she also helps with our parent training. So the purpose and the outcomes of this training are the following. The purpose is to prepare you to work with students in small groups or one-on-one. So this is not about working with an entire 30 students on your own. It's really about working with small groups or one-on-one. Now, the outcome of this training is threefold. One is to gain classroom management strategies. The second outcome we want you to be able to see at the end is to be able to use a growth mindset when working with students. And then the third outcome would be to feel more confident working in the classroom and assisting teachers. Well, first of all, it's the paperwork. So first step to becoming an on-campus volunteer at Design 39 is to complete the correct paperwork. So here we go. Requirements for volunteering. The first requirement is the Megan's Law background check. Now, a lot of you have already completed this form, and if you did, that's great. And we should be receiving these forms back with approval from the district office shortly. The way you can tell if you are approved as a level 1 volunteer is to simply come into the Welcome Center or send us an email in the Welcome Center and ask if you have been approved yet. The only way we can check is to actually look into our system and see if your name is on the approved list. We don't receive anything back from the district office. We just look into the system and see if your name is there. So that was the first requirement, was the Megan's Law. The second requirement for the paperwork is to fill out the Code of Conduct paper, and it looks like this. The third requirement would be to have your TB test done. Now you have a choice that you can have your TB test done at a clinic at the Poway Unified School District sites. And if you choose to go to one of the Poway sites, it says right here that you must bring a volunteer verification form with you if you have your TB test done at a PUSD site. And then also down below it says you may also go to your own healthcare provider. Please bring your completed test results to the Welcome Center at Design 39. So here's the volunteer verification form. You pick this up in the Welcome Center. You just write your name, the school, and then one of us in the Welcome Center will sign this for you, and then we'll give it back to you, and you take this form with you when you're going to one of the Poway sites to get your TB test done. If you look on the Poway Unified School District site, you'll see this form, and this tells you when you can get your TB test done and the dates and times and the locations of the Poway Unified School District sites that actually do the TB test. Once you have all that, you're ready to volunteer. When you arrive on campus, please check in at the Welcome Center. You'll use a computer at the front desk to check in, and you're required to wear a printed name tag while you are on campus. Now, if you filled out all your paperwork and you're just waiting for your paperwork to be approved by the district, you can still come into the Design 39 campus as a guest. So you just come into the Welcome Center, sign in as a guest, and you can come on campus that way until you get your paperwork approved. Now, some of you might want a level 2 clearance, and that requires fingerprints. So there's 3 steps to this. If you plan on assisting at the Math or the Science Olympiad, you definitely need a level 2 clearance. Number 2, if you plan on teaching a class or working with a group of students out of the site of a credentialed teacher, then you'll need a level 2 clearance. So in other words, if you want to come to Design 39 campus and you want to take a group of students into another classroom and teach a lesson, or anywhere else on campus where you are not in the eyesight of a credentialed teacher, then you'll need level 2 clearance. And number 3 says try level 1 for some time before level 2. So we suggest that all volunteers should try level 1. Make sure you enjoy working with small groups of students or one-on-one before you go through the fingerprint process for the level 2. And we also suggest that you check with the need with your child's teacher and make sure that there is a need for you to get a level 2 clearance. At the face-to-face training, we handed out these forms. Now, unfortunately, since then, we found out that this was an older form, and the district office is requiring us to have you fill out a different form. So if you filled out this form, where that level 2 is circled in red, would you please fill out a different form that looks like this? And this form will be on our website. And it says request for volunteer fingerprinting, level 2, Department of Justice and FBI clearance. So remember, if you want to apply for level 2, that means you plan on teaching a class by yourself or teaching groups of students away from the credentialed teacher on campus, then you'll need level 2. But otherwise, you can just stick with level 1. If you do want to fill out the level 2 form, you fill this out, leave it in the Welcome Center, and then you would fill this out, and then we will sign this for you, and you can take this with you to the scheduled appointment. All right, so once you have all your paperwork done, now let's look at things that will happen when you're in the classroom. Now, classroom management is going to be one of your biggest issues. So once we give you a few hints, this will help you working with small groups or one-on-one. So here's some strategies and ideas to set you up for success. Classroom management. Number 1 is body language. We all know that. Open posture, eye contact, facial expressions. All those things are very important for students. So when they're talking with you or they need your attention, just open posture means your hands are to your side. You're ready for their questions or their responses. You're looking at them, and that you give a nice facial expression so that they feel like they're safe in approaching you. The second thing about classroom management is voice. So a clear, professional, and kind voice. And then also give directions with a positive tone and excitement about the challenge ahead. Remember, your enthusiasm is contagious. So in other words, when you're working with students and you approach them, make sure that you're clear and professional. Make sure that you approach them as being confident, that you give clear directions and you tell them exactly what they're doing, and making sure that they're on task so that they know that if you feel confident, then they know that you are one of the teachers there and that you are assisting in their learning. Now, the third thing about classroom management is that we all use a universal sign of hands up. So once our hand is up, we're asking students to listen and stop talking at that point, and this is a school-wide signal for quiet. Now, in some of the classes, they might do some other types of classroom management strategies in order to get the students' attention, so you can check with the teacher as well on that. The fourth thing about classroom management, redirect instead of reprimand. If the students are not on task, bring their attention back to the activity. In other words, if they're getting off task or talking about something else, just bring them right back to the activity and say, oh, thanks for looking at that question that you're doing. Oh, can you tell me about this? How did you figure this out? What's your next step? So you're just bringing them right back to the activity. And if you do it with the voice level of remember, clear, professional, and kind, if their voice levels get too loud, you can begin talking in a quieter voice. And a lot of times that helps to draw students back in. So rather than talking louder over them, try talking in a quiet voice. Here's another classroom management strategy. Answer questions with questions. If a student says, I don't know what to do next, our response could be, well, what did Mr. Manalo ask you to do? And if a student still says, I don't know, you can ask, well, what do you see other students doing? Who else knows in your group? So what we're trying to do is let students work through the process by asking them some questions that might help them figure out and find out what they're doing and what they should be doing next. The next thing about classroom management is that we believe that there isn't just one answer. We want to encourage more than one way to solve a problem. And all of these different points down below here are what we're trying to instill in students. Number one is we learn from mistakes, which brings us to the second part about the word fail, F-A-I-L. Well, we look at this as the first attempt in learning. And mistakes are opportunities for growth. A lot of times that's when you're going to learn the most. The next bullet says about different people see things differently, and we want students to understand that. And then finally, ask for an explanation. Even if the answer is wrong, if they had the right process for going about trying to find the correct answer, we want you to make sure that you are recognizing that, talking to the students about that, and then you can help them with finding the right answer. But we're really looking at the process, how did they go about it, and then does that answer make sense? And if not, then we can help direct them that way. Now you all watched the video of the growth mindset on as far as the step 1. And remember, growth mindset, it's really that people believe that their most basic abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. That brains and talent are just a starting point, and this view creates a love of learning and a resilience that is essential for great accomplishment. Virtually all great people have had these qualities, and Carol Dweck is known for the growth mindset, and this is what we're following here, that we want students to understand that they can continue to grow and they can continue to develop. Yes, we believe that people have some natural gifts and talents, but we also believe that people can develop those gifts and talents through dedication and hard work. So, students with a growth mindset, here's what we found that they tend to do. Number one, they tend to care about and invest themselves in learning. And that's what we want them to do. We want them to care about learning, find learning interesting, and believe in themselves. Which brings to the second point, that they believe that effort is a positive thing, causing their intelligence to grow. So we want to compliment them on their effort and how much work and time that they put into something. The third bullet says try hard in the face of frustration and failure. So compliment them if they didn't give up. Tell them that you notice that they tried different ways. Ask them what worked, what didn't work, and then look for new learning strategies. So those are the things that we want students, or that we notice that students tend to do when they are in that growth mindset. As far as praise, in order to praise students within this growth mindset philosophy, there's 6 bullets there under praise. It says we are looking to praise the process and avoid labeling intellect. So here's how we would like to have students praised in the classroom. One is special effort. If they put a lot of effort into it and you notice a lot of work that's gone into it, praise that. The second bullet going across, learning something new. Ask students, did you learn anything new from this experience, and what was it? The next one is persistent struggle. Did you keep with something? Did you try over and over? Did you stay with it? The next one is improving on something. Was it anything that's improved on? Did you improve on anything that you were building or making or recreating? The next one is use of strategies. Ask students, tell me the strategies you used. What worked? What didn't work? And last, taking on a difficult or complex task. We want students to feel good about taking on something that was difficult or complex, and we want to encourage that. And then last, if you hear I can't, add in the word yet. So here's some guiding questions and characteristics. So these will be important for you when you're working with students. We know that Bloom's taxonomy has different levels of learning and different levels of knowledge. Well, let's look at number one. So guiding questions. These are questions that are open-ended and typically don't have a single or final correct answer. So these are the type of questions you want to ask. Always think about asking questions at a higher level. Compare and contrast, analyze, synthesize, all those higher level questions. Number two says are questions that are thought-provoking. They are engaging. They spark discussion and debate. So we want students to think about these things and also hear what other people are thinking and why they're thinking what they are. Number three on guiding questions, we want to call for higher order thinking. We want students to use analysis, inference, evaluation, and prediction. It can't be effectively answered by recall alone. We want them to use their brains for thinking. Number four, it says point towards important transferable ideas within and sometimes across disciplines. So ask students, well, what do you know about this so far? What experience have you had? How can you relate what you know, what you've done before with what's happening now? Number five, raise additional questions, and that sparks further inquiry. And that's what we want students to do. Keep thinking, keep asking questions. Number six, requires support and justification, not just an answer. So students want to give their answer or their response. Say, that's great. How did you come about that? What were you thinking, and how did you come about that answer? And then number seven says recurs over time. That is, questions can and should be revisited again. So those are all the things about classroom management, types of questions, things that will help you when you're working with a small group. You can always come back and review those at any time. Now let's look at our glossary, because we have a lot of different vocabulary at Design 39 campus, and some of these things will help you. So if students are saying they're going to the Welcome Center, that's our office or the admin building. Cafe 39, that's where the adults eat lunch. And this is a positive space, and a lot of times students will walk through there if they're on a project. The next word is the servery, and that is the cafeteria where students purchase their lunch. You might have heard of these two rooms. They're the makeries and the collaboratories. Well, the makeries, it says, a classroom space designated as a space where students can prototype designs, reverse engineer technologies, design and build products and technology, create and fabricate. These classrooms have 4 walls. So this is the basic type of classroom structure. It just has a lot of these different materials and different tables and things within this makery that students are making or designing. But it's a basic 4-wall door classroom. Now the collaboratory, you'll notice it says that these are buildings that has less than 4 walls. It's open, it has a polished concrete floor, some soft furniture, and lots of natural lighting. And it can be used by small to large groups of learners, and these are flexible use spaces. So if you are level 2 cleared, you might take students to the collaboratory, which are in the B and C buildings, and you might work with students teaching them a lesson there out of the eyesight of a teacher. Or you might go with a teacher and just help a small group of students learn in the collaboratory. The next 3 vocabulary words are the promenade, which is the space between the B building and the C building. It's that walkway there between the 2 buildings. The pavilion is a large covered area, the shaded area outside of the fitness studio. It's considered to be our outdoor gym, and it has a big blue surface. The gallery is our version of the student center. It's a fun area with reading cubbies, stadium seating, and an electronic wall. And that's one of the last rooms to be finished for construction at Design 39. So that is going to open shortly. Now, Minds in Motion, MIM there. It's a period of time devoted to exploration and development of physical active skills. So this is our version of physical education. And we're looking for any volunteers who can help with our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, grades 4 through 6. Meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the last hour of the day from 2:15 to 3:15. And the grades 2, 3 now are meeting from 2 until 2:45. If you're interested in helping the K1, then the TK, K, or 1 grades, you'll need to contact the teachers and find out what day and time they're having their Minds in Motion. So this is when we really need volunteers to come about the last hour of the day to help out. They could help supervise, or they could actually teach a physical education class. Now the loft is the version of our library, and we have some books there, and this is where they'll have some different types of seating where students can sit and read and study and listen. We also have design studios, and that's really about a teacher collaboration space. And we have design studios in all the buildings so that the teachers have a space to meet every morning before the start of school. Now, a lot of you will hear about the chair. So the chair represents all students. When making decisions about learning, we always focus on the chair, because who is in the chair? It's our students. So everything we do, our decisions that we make, our body language, what we say and how we say it, we're always trying to remember who's sitting in that chair and who it is actually for. With that, we always remind ourselves that everything speaks. So how can we affect the perception of students or staff or other adults? Well, there's body language, and there's facial expression, and there's tone of voice. So all those things happen with these 5 bullets right here. So when you're sitting with an individual child or a group of students, body language, facial expression, tone of voice, everything speaks. When you're listening to students tell you something, just leaning in, listening to them, nodding, and being aware of what they're saying and that you're paying attention to them. Standing facing children, asking questions, sharing a thought or comment. So remember, everything we do, whether they're volunteers, teachers, staff members, everything speaks. All right, so now what? Well, there's a couple steps. So now have all the paperwork for your volunteer clearance approved. And if you have questions, please check with Ms. Tara Appling. She's our health tech in the Welcome Center. Once you have all your paperwork and your volunteer clearance approved, then you can email your teacher or teachers, let them know that you've watched the growth mindset video, and remember this was step 1, and that you also attended this step 2 training and have cleared paperwork. Now, if you're waiting for your paperwork to clear, you may still come to Design 39 campus and just sign in as a guest until your paperwork does clear. So we still want you to come on campus, just sign in as a guest while you're in the process of your paperwork. So again, what is our biggest need here currently at Design 39 campus? We need volunteers to help teach or supervise students during our Minds in Motion classes. Now currently the Monday, Wednesday, Friday is for grades 4, 5, and 6, and they meet the last hour of the day. On Tuesday and Thursday, the younger students have Minds in Motion, and the 2nd, 3rd grade meet from 2 to 2:45. So if you're interested in that and you can help supervise or teach classes with that, that would be fabulous. Now, this may change to 2:15 to 3 p.m. So if you're interested in helping with grades 2, 3, that might be a new start time for them, 2:15 to 3 p.m. Here it says 2 to 2:45, but sometimes they start at 2:15 to 3 p.m. So just email Jen Zing and let me know if you are willing or able to help with any of our Minds in Motion. Again, it says grades TK, K1. Check with your child's teacher for days and times. So some of these times can change, but they're usually around the last hour of the day. So this is me, Jen Zing. I'm a teacher on special assignment. If you're able to teach a Minds in Motion class or just help us supervise students during Minds in Motion, please email me at jzing@powausd.com. And just let me know what date and time you can help. Maybe you can help on all Mondays or Tuesdays or Wednesdays. Anything would be great. We'd appreciate it if you could help, each week, but if you can't and you can only help once in a while, we would love that too. So thank you, volunteers. We appreciate your time, and we're so happy that your students are here learning with us. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.